Hi everyone, I'm Little Storyteller Lee, 類小傻講故. I'm an analytics professional and I make the digital economy easy for everyone to understand, regardless of whether you're technical or not. After this video, I guarantee you won't have any reason to be scared of data. As recently as last year, the World Economic Forum identified data analysis as a top in-demand skill set for the next 5 years. If you're wondering why our world has become so data-driven, well, here's the reason. With businesses, government organizations, and non-profits all having gone online, and social media usage being widespread among the public, it's been possible to gather more information than before about every aspect of human behavior. Where people go, what they talk about, what they search for, and what they buy. Data skills, which we can break down into data science and data analysis, are about using that information to help us make better decisions, not only in business, but across academia, government, and non-profits as well. So, if you heard from your boss or your government authorities that working with data is super important, but you're not sure where to start, this video was made for you. Let's begin with an example that should be very easy for everybody to relate to. When was the last time you bought something online? Every time you do a search, every product that you click on, everything you add to your cart and eventually buy, all of these actions create data. At the same time, data is quietly shaping your experience in the background. Because you're logged in when you shop on an e-commerce site or app, the retailer knows exactly who you are. They can tell how you're behaving over days, months, even years of being their customer. When you shopped with them long enough, they understand these patterns so well, they can tell when you're just window shopping and when you're seriously about to buy. Just because they know how long it usually takes for you to go from searching around to making an order. Think about just how much they learn when they observe not only you, but everybody else who's shopping on their website and apps too. Data analysis is about taking this information and finding trends. What you want to see is what are the findings that the business can react to. Which were the top selling products this week? Were they profitable? What's growing and what isn't? With this lens into how customers are reacting, companies know what to lean into and what to cut back on, and they can adjust constantly. But when e-commerce sites grow large enough to track the buying habits of millions or even billions of shoppers, that's when they can deepen their data insights and go beyond these simple trends that we can articulate easily through stories. Computers, unlike humans, can do many complex calculations, which we call algorithms, so they can grab more kinds of patterns than any human can think of. And that's what we call data science. For example, a human might think about predicting what you are going to buy next by looking at characteristics that all of us can easily understand, such as what others living in your area are buying, or what people in your age group also bought. But a computer can look at many aspects, create more combinations of them than any human has the time to, and constantly track which ones will produce the most sales. That's why when you shop online, you get recommendations for other products that you might like. The retailers know how to do that by looking at what you bought previously, what you're currently buying, and comparing that against what people with similar buying habits as you bought, based on the computer's calculations. You might buy most of your books online, but let's say sometimes you want a quiet afternoon at the bookstore. That's why there's a space for physical businesses too. The physical experience in a bookstore is what attracts people because we go there to browse, to pick up a book and flip through it, and simply to enjoy the atmosphere. Unlike an online store, a physical store can't track everything that a single individual buys. One day, you might pay by cash, and the next day, you might pay by card. And that means it's not going to be reliable to track exactly everything that any particular person has bought. And therefore, physical stores have less ability to predict what you like personally than an online store can. But what they can do though is to track which books sell well, which titles people tend to buy together, and how that varies across their shop locations. For example, a suburban store in an area with a lot of kids may specialize in children's storybooks, reference books for students, and school assessment books, whereas a location in the central city core near offices may sell more business and self-help titles. This may sound very obvious, but when you go down to the level of individual book titles, it still needs a lot of data, and how the store decides which books to send where, which titles to display together, and which newly published books to stock up on, all of that is guided by their data. Professor Howard Yu, Legal Professor of Management and Innovation at the IMD Business School, who taught me when I studied there, has written an article about how Circuit City and Blockbuster went out of business because their competitors leveraged data and they didn't. I've linked it in my description below. It's one of the most compelling explanations that I've come across of why there's this push for everyone to get data skills. Because if you're in a business where your competitors are using data and you're not, they will constantly outthink and outmaneuver you. E-commerce was an early adopter of data, but with so many transactions happening online now, data has become relevant for many more organizations. In any sector where you have customers that you interact with online, data has become relevant. But predictions that computers generate are not always accurate. If the external environment shifts, past data trends might become outdated. Or if you're launching a completely new product line, there's simply no past sales for the computer to learn from. So, data science is about using the past to predict the future. But humans are the ones who can determine when that method is applicable and when it isn't. We can't rely only on the technical people to do this, because oftentimes, the people who are technical are not the people with the most business context. And so, functional experts need to step in, because they are the ones who have the most awareness of what's going on in their area outside the data. That means people like you. And if your business is becoming data-driven, it doesn't mean that if you're not a technical expert, you don't have a job. In fact, most of the maths is being done by computers. So, what's important for you in terms of data literacy as a non-technical professional is being able to evaluate what's happening in your area of the business, asking yourself what measurable trends can help you to confirm your gut feel, and making sure that you get hold of the data trends that you need, either through your analytics team or through your employer's enterprise AI systems. When you make a recommendation, you're able to support your idea or decision with both numbers as well as your judgment. One practical way to improve your data literacy today is by taking a class or reading a book on data science aimed at business professionals. I have some recommendations in the description box below. Some of these are free, and although the books are more than 10 years old, these principles are timeless. Now that you have an idea of what data science is, generative AI becomes easier to understand. Conceptually, generative AI is about data science applied to human-generated content. Text, pictures, audio, video, and code. By learning from linguistic and visual patterns, generative AI can recombine these elements to create new content. But AI doesn't create the way humans do. When we make a request to an AI chatbot, it calculates what words, images, or ideas should come next using mathematics. That's why working with generative AI still needs humans to be in the picture to provide judgment. We need to define the structure and the purpose of the output clearly, to determine whether and how to refine it before using it, or even if what the AI made should be ignored entirely. In my next video, I'll talk about the very rapid history of generative and agentic AI, where your AI chatbot gets its info from, and when you should or shouldn't trust it. Stay tuned and see you next time.